I often get asked what babysitting has taught me, and let me tell you, it's a lot. Hey sitters, welcome back to another video. It's Lydia, thanks for joining me. And in today's video, I'm going to go through the laundry list of things that I've learned through babysitting for 12 years. I think that a lot of this I learned over time and now apply to other areas of my life, and hopefully by you guys watching this video you can recognize some of those things as well in yourself and apply them to the rest of your life. One of the first things I learned from babysitting is respect. Now, not only am I learning to respect others, respecting their privacy, respecting boundaries that they put in place, respecting their household rules, respecting how they go about raising their children. I also learned what respect I need from them, or what level of respect I'm expecting from them as well. So it was a two-way street. I didn't learn that it was a two-way street until after a couple tough families. But after a couple rough situations, I realized that this is not going to work until the families also respect me. Not that I wasn't respecting them, but they needed to respect me just as much as I was respecting them. So that was a really big piece in my learning. So I knew what respect was. I knew that I needed to give it to families, but I also learned that it was needed to be given to me as well if I was going to work with these families. And on top of that, what did it look like for the families? And letting them know that, so there wasn't any question of what respect looked like for me. So that was a big one that I learned along the way of babysitting. Right along with respecting their time. So punctuality was really important. It's very important in this industry. It's very important to me, and it's bled into the rest of my life. I don't think I may have been late for a couple of things, but I have mostly been on time for a lot of things. I get complimented on how if I'm not on time, I'm early. But punctuality is very important. If you are late to a family who is ordering an Uber or has dinner reservations or meeting up with friends, or they have to be somewhere at a certain time and they're relying on you to be here at a certain time and you're not, you're messing up the whole night. It's really important that you're not too early as well. So I like to be within a 5-minute time range. So I usually try to get there within 5 minutes of being. So if it's 8 a.m., I try to get there around 7:55. That way I'm not too early and I'm not disrupting anything that they were planning to do before I get there, whether it be dinner, bath, whatever, and them getting ready themselves. So I try not to get there too early, but also giving that time where they can, within 5 minutes, hand off the kids, kind of let me know an updated version of what's going on for the night, because I should already know with all my forms filled out and stuff, and then they can get out the door. So punctuality is key. So the next one is patience. Over the 12 years of babysitting, learned patience is really important when working with kids. Now that has bled into the rest of my life. I'm very patient with people. I'm very patient. I don't get road rage. Like, I'm a very patient person. It takes a lot to push my buttons. It takes a lot for me to get angry, and it just has taught me. Working with kids teaches you how to work with adults who don't act like adults, if that makes sense. So if I'm out in public and something's going wrong, or if I have a friend who's just having a meltdown or whatnot, it's easier for me to be like, okay, let's take a step back, let's calm down. Whereas I've seen my other friends, their patient wears thin very quickly. I have a couple of friends who have road rage, and when I drive with them, when I drive and they're sitting in the passenger seat, they get upset for things that other people are doing on the road while I'm driving. And I just think it's the funniest thing, because I'm like, they can't hear you. There's nothing you can do about it. You're never going to see them again. So, and they look at me like, how can you not get angry at that? And I was like, I work with children, and sometimes adults act like children. So I feel like that's bled into my life pretty well, and I've been truly patient on a lot of things. Sometimes it's a bad thing. Sometimes I need to say something, but I haven't. So it's a catch-22. I've learned patience, but I also need to learn to say something sooner in some situations. This next one is confidence. So I will say, throughout my childhood, I've been a very like social. I've been an extrovert. I didn't lack confidence, but I definitely built my confidence. I can talk to anybody, anywhere, at any time. I've actually, this is embarrassing, but I've had a massage therapist tell me to shut up during my massage. Um, so my confidence has definitely built. I'm not worried about, oh no, I'm worried about what this person's going to think or say or do if I do this. Um, my confidence in promoting my business and promoting what I am doing and being proud of it and letting people know that I'm doing it, I think has really helped along the way. Promoting myself. So in babysitting, you need to let people know what you do. You need to be in front of people's faces all the time and consistently. And by doing that at a young age, I was 12 when I started, um, really built that confidence quickly of like, as a 12-year-old, you're telling adults, like, here's my pricing. Here's where my hours, or what my hours look like. Here's how I work. Here's how, this is what I do, or this is not what I do. This is not part of my job responsibilities. So learning that from a young age really built my confidence, and now I feel like I don't lack any confidence. So confidence definitely bled into the rest of my life, and I don't have a problem with that. Some days, okay, I want to take that back. Some days I do. I think everybody has confidence issues here or there, but mine are very minor and very rare that I do second guess myself or question myself. And I think that's important that we do that, because that's where growth happens. But overall, I think I've learned confidence very quickly at a young age. So the next one I have on my list is understanding and empathy. When working with kids, you really need to be understanding of how they're feeling, what they're feeling, why they're feeling that way. You have to know that kids go through things so much differently than we do, and differently than each other. And you have to be understanding about that. It's also where your patience comes in a little bit too. But understanding that the world to them is much bigger than the world is to us right now. And they're still learning. They're still learning and growing at those ages. And we needed to be there to support them through that. Now, I will say there is a difference, because I have learned that I need to, this is a hard way of saying it. Not that I don't love my families, not that I don't find my families important, not that I don't love and want to be in their lives, but there is also a part where I do have to somewhat disconnect, and I can't get involved too much and get connected too much or attached too much, because there will be one day that I walk away and they will no longer need me. Now, there are those families that will forever give me updates on their kids, will invite me to their plays and baseball games and stuff like that. But as you grow your clientele, you can't be like that with every family. So empathy and understanding, but also having a little bit of knowledge of making sure you're not attaching yourself too much to that family. So if there is a day that you happen to walk away, or God forbid they fire you, you aren't completely crushed. So a perfect example is that I've been with a family for 12 years now. I started with them with their first was a newborn, and she is 12 now. They have 2 kids. He's 9 or 10. She's 12. And I've been babysitting them their whole lives. I've known her whole life. But we're getting to the point where I'm not needed anymore. She's 12 years old. She's getting into babysitting herself. And for me, I have to understand that they don't need me for the rest of their lives. They're going to be 15, 16 years old. And I mean, they will not need me. Babysitters, there is an end to us. Sorry to say it. But there is a period, there is a time, there is an age where Families will no longer need us. And to understand that and accept that can be very difficult. Again, I've known her whole life. I miss seeing them often. But knowing that she's going to become a babysitter and doing what I do is really exciting. And knowing that I will get updates throughout her life and she'll let me know if she needs anything. She's more of like a friend now. The next one is creativity. I've always been a creative person. I was into theater, I was into dance, I was into everything really when I was younger. I explored everything. And that just blossomed when I became a babysitter. You really have to get creative to come up with games, to come up with activities, to come up with just everything under the sun to keep these kids entertained. And if something doesn't work that you planned out, you got to pivot. And when you pivot, you got to be creative about it and come up with things on the spot. So creativity has really become something that I've been good at. Now, okay, not the best drawer. When people think like creativity, they think like artistic and drawing, and that's not always the case. Creativity can be coming up with games on the spot, or making something up in your mind and imagining it to help kids get engaged a little more. So I think my creativity has blossomed in that way, and not so much the like I can paint or I can color and I can draw really well, because I can't. My kids think I can because I can do it better than them, but but put me next to anybody my age that can draw, not even close. But so creativity has been a big one that I have learned along the way, the 12 years. Honesty is the best policy. I've always lived by that ever since I was younger. My parents instilled in me honesty. I hope every parent instills honesty into their kid. My parents instilled honesty when I was younger by punishing me more if I lied than if I was just telling the truth. So if I broke something or something and I tried to blame it on my sisters, it didn't work out for me in the end if I lied. It was better if I just told the truth. Now, babysitting propelled that very quickly. And here's what I mean by that. When I was first starting babysitting, there was a family I was babysitting for. The kids were awful. Downright awful. And every time the parents came home and they asked how the night went, I just said, it was great, no problems, right? And I'd leave. They continued to hire me, right? Because I found out this later. So they continued to hire me. I struggled saying yes to this family all the time because I knew the kids were so bad, whatever. One day, I ended up saying, you know what? Lying to them is not helping. I need to let them know how bad their children are so I can get help where I need it, if they have tips and tricks, or I just need to be honest with this family. So the one day I was babysitting for them, they came home, they asked me, how'd the night go? And I was very honest with them. I said, to be very honest with you, it did not go well. And then I told them how the night went. And I don't even remember how the night went. I just know it was a bad night. And they said to me, that is so, we wish you would have told us sooner, because they only continued to hire me because the kids were good for me, or so they thought. They didn't hire other babysitters because they were having trouble getting the boys to listen to them. And they realized that it wasn't the babysitter, the past babysitter, it was their kids. So for me to lie to them was not helpful for them because they didn't know that their kids were troublesome. And it wasn't helpful for me because they thought I was so great, they kept hiring me. And it was miserable for me. So I learned very quickly, honesty is the best policy. You tell them straight up how the kids were that night. And if there's things that they can give you, tips and tricks, or little things here and there that they know that their kids will listen to or listen for, that was very important for me very early on. I learned very quickly, honesty is the best policy, because it was miserable every time I worked for that family. And then it ended up working out. After we talked about it, we worked it out. The kids were great after 2 or 3 times coming back, so it worked out. But being honest about the kids' behavior was truly important. Responsibility. Now this really encompasses everything that I talked about, but The responsibility of another human being's life is truly important and is pretty scary if you think about it. I was actually just talking to my sister about that today, about her baby. She's due very soon, and you guys get to meet the baby soon. But she was saying that I asked her if she was worried about being in charge of somebody else's life for 18 years. Like, that's crazy, right? And she said, well, you do it all the time. I said, but it is not easy. It's difficult. I take the kids to the splash pad. I take the kids to the aquarium. I take the kids to hands-on museum. The other day, I think I told you guys about it in the last video, I lost a child. Not for long, but I lost them. Kids are unpredictable. They can, and this is the worst of the worst, I know, and I'm thinking of it, but they drown, they get stolen, they get hurt. And that is on you when you're babysitting. Being responsible is very important. Being aware of your surroundings, being on top of things, making sure that they're not doing anything dangerous to hurt themselves or others. Being a responsible adult in any situation that you come across, but also being encompassing all those other things I talked about, and being fun and entertaining. And you don't want to be, when people think of responsible adult, they think of, when people think of a responsible adult, they think of like boring, party pooper. They are a mood killer. And that's not true. I'm very responsible, but I'm very entertaining and I'm very fun. I can entertain most groups. That sounds so funny. But I can entertain most groups and make sure that we are doing it responsibly. So that encompasses everything that we talked about. And I think it's truly important. Not only did I learn all of these things, this is a huge list of things that I've learned over my years of babysitting. These are also things that I'm teaching them. I'm teaching kids how to be responsible. I'm teaching kids how to be honest. I'm teaching kids patience. I'm teaching them to just become better humans all around. And I think a lot of these things that I've learned, and I'm sure you guys have learned as well throughout babysitting, makes us better humans. And a little bit of us teaches them these things as well. And I think that's pretty incredible, that I'm taking what I'm learning from babysitting and applying it to the kids that I'm babysitting, right? Comes full circle. If you guys could do me a huge favor, I want to know from you guys down in the comment section below, what is the number one thing babysitting has taught you? And this can be something that I mentioned, or this could be very specific too, whether it was I learned how to change a diaper, or I learned whatever it may be. I want to know. So let me know down in the comment section below. Also, if you have questions, let me know. I try to get to all of that as soon as I can. I am super busy lately. I'm running a business and getting other certifications. My sister's due soon, so we're preparing for that. I also have an Instagram if you want to go follow me over on Instagram. I'll link that down in the description below. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do so you don't miss out on anything that's coming up. We're going to start doing more business-styled videos and answering questions that you guys may have on that. So you want to make sure you're staying tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.